Are you able to go all throughout the day while being in your peak performance? Or do you have moments during the day where your performance goes up and then down? I see this common so often with my patients and one-on-one clients I work with. Either they start off in the morning and they have really great energy, and then by 2 to 3 p.m., they have this huge energy slump. Or oftentimes they'll wake up and they'll feel slow and sluggish, and maybe they'll get a little burst of energy later in the morning or early afternoon, and then their energy kind of goes back down. So let me know if you can relate to either one of those scenarios. And then sometimes I also see people who just wake up and they're kind of pretty much tired the entire day. Regardless, it's so important for you to understand and learn how to be in your peak performance all day long. And that's what I'm going to be sharing in this video. You don't want to have these ups and downs of energy, because if you do, your mindset, your mood, your motivation, all of that stuff is going to follow. And as much as possible, the more consistent energy that you can have throughout the day and the more consistently you can be in your peak performance during the day, the more powerful action that you will take in order to make your dreams actually become a reality. And again, the big real reason why it's so important, the consistent energy, is because of the consistent mood. I know that whenever your energy goes down, you've noticed your mood go down as well. And it becomes impossible to take action. And the more that we can allow ourselves to be in this state of joy, ease, calm, peace, the more powerful action that we can take to actually build the life of our dreams. So, first of all, why are you going through these, peaks and troughs of energy and in motivation and crashes during the day? Couple reasons why. Number one, and this is by far the biggest reason, is that you are just shifting and moving from one activity to the next activity to the next activity without slowing down, without ever setting any sort of intention. And then lo and behold, by the end of the day, you just feel completely crashed and burnt out. You might feel like you have zero capacity to be around your family and friends the way that you really want to be. And then oftentimes what ends up happening too is by the end of the day, we just feel like we hate our job. We just feel like we hate our job and our life. And we feel like everyone and everything has just sucked the life out of us. So this is the number one biggest reason, okay? You are transitioning from activity to activity without actually setting any sort of intention, without thinking about how you want to show up in different parts of your life. And I just realized my hair is a little messy. And so it's going to be so important. We're going to talk about how do you effectively transition? How do you stop just jam-pack in your day with stuff to do? Because let me tell you, that's not what it means to be a high performer. I used to think that. Trust me, I did. I used to think that if I just jam-packed my day with stuff, and if I was doing work 10 hours of the day, and let's be honest, no one is actually working 10 hours of the day, because if I look at your schedule, you're telling me that you're probably doing a lot of other things in there instead of just working. And so I used to think that if I just jam-packed my day with stuff, I would get more done. But actually, it led me to feeling more miserable about my life. And that's not how it's supposed to be by any means, okay? Now, the other piece that becomes really important is that you're not fueling your brain right. I cannot begin to emphasize the importance of diet. And if you watch my videos enough, I talk about it a lot. And especially on my other socials as well, I talk about the importance of optimizing your diet in order to really show up in your life as the powerful performer that you are. So we're going to talk about that as well. And what does it really mean to really feed your body the right foods so that you can be in this peak state all day long? So the first place that we're going to start off with is learning how to transition effectively. Starting today, you are no longer going to jump from activity to activity to activity. Because the more you do that, the more that you leave yourself up to the randomness, the whim, whatever life brings you, okay? And we don't want to do that. We don't want to just kind of mindlessly go from activity to activity. Okay, we want to bring some conscientiousness. We want to bring some intentionality, some awareness as to how we're transitioning between things, and more specifically, how we are showing up to specific activities in our life. So, I actually got this technique from Brendon Burchard. He is the world's leading top performance coach. He's honestly awesome. Read some of his books. He's great. And so, one of the techniques that he talks about, I forgot the exact name of it, but he talks about this technique about releasing tension. So essentially what you want to do, and I'll give you even my example here, right? So right before I started filming a YouTube video, so I usually batch my content, is I was filming shorts. So these are videos for Instagram, for TikTok, for other platforms. Now those videos are a lot shorter, right? They're like 30 seconds long. And so I batch recorded a bunch of those videos, and then it was time for me to start recording my YouTube videos. Although I'm recording, it's the same thing. The content and the way that I show up for my shorts video is a lot different for YouTube, right? With shorts, I have to be like more on point. I have to be more concise versus YouTube. I don't have to be as much, right? Because it's a longer form video. And so what I did before actually starting to record my YouTube videos is I just took a second, took a couple of deep breaths. I practiced kind of just releasing tension. So I kind of did like a quick body scan, almost imagining as if the tension was leaving my body. And then I set an intention, right? So I released the tension and set an intention. And when I set this intention, I thought about, how do I want to show up in these YouTube videos as I'm recording them? What is the intention that I want to set? And so I set that intention, right? I want to show up in these videos as knowledgeable, as helpful, as caring, and really empowering and inspiring for the people that are going to watch this. And I know that this sounds like it's a lot. And I didn't spend even 5 minutes doing this. It was literally seconds. And what this does is that this allows me to effectively transition. It allows me to release that tension of whatever came up when I was recording the other shorts videos, and it allows me to start showing up in this new activity in a powerful way. It helps me realign myself to my purpose and why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. When you just jump from activity to activity, you're not doing any of this. You're not setting any sort of intentions. You're not living your life with consciousness. And being conscious about your life gives you power to show up in the way that you want to. Because what happens to you is that you wake up in the morning, and if you're doing some sort of morning routine, that's fantastic, right? Morning routines are so great to help you align yourself with your purpose, your intentions. But then what's happening is that you're not realigning yourself with your intentions, with how you want to show up in life, with your purpose, or any of that the rest of the day. So what ends up happening is that you kind of forget about the morning routine. And trust me, I get this. This used to be me. I used to set a morning routine, and I did my morning routine, right? I would do my journaling and my reading and my meditating. And then during the day, I would have these big emotional outbursts. During the day, I would get so far away from my intention and what I had set for myself. And that's because I wasn't taking moments during the day to pull myself back and realign myself with this intention that I am wanting to show up with in life. So this is so powerful, and it is so simple. A great place for you to start doing this, because, with my patients and clients, I always hear that they carry their work stress into their personal life. And again, this is because, you drive home from work and you go straight into your house without setting any sort of intention as to how you want to show up with your family. So you're carrying all the day's stress into it. Or if you work from home, you close your laptop and boom, you exit and you leave. And again, I am so guilty of this. When I was living back at my parents' house, when I would end a work day of seeing patients or clients, I would close my laptop off and I wouldn't give myself any time to transition and talking to my parents. And so all the anger, stress, or whatever I had from seeing my patients, not really anger, but because I work in brain health, we talk a lot about sensitive topics, right? And so if I don't give myself time to just unwind or release the tension, I carry all of that into my personal life. So that's the power of this. And what would happen is that I would just have all these outbursts and get irritated over little things. And that's because I was carrying the stress from my work into my personal life. And so important for you to take a couple of seconds, right? It's literally just closing your eyes, doing just a quick scan of your body, imagining the tension just releasing, setting an intention that I want to show up in this next activity with a sense of empowerment and motivation and kindness, and that's it. Then moving forward, that's how fast and simple and easy it is. And it's so, so transformative. So best place to start this, I want you to try this out. It's next time you're done the workday, right? Before you leave your car to walk into your home, or before you shut the laptop off, before you go talk to anybody else, think about how you want to show up around these people, right? And set the intention that I want to show up as my best self for the people that I love the most. I want to show up with energy and with joy and with some beautiful power, so that I can have a positive impact and influence and have a positive experience with them. So this completely changes things up. And this is how you try to stay in your peak performance all day long. Now, the second thing to tie into this is showing up in life with the expectation that things are going to go your way. This concept has honestly profoundly changed my life. I heard this on a manifesting podcast that I was listening to, and essentially the energetics of achieving your goals. And what happens to a lot of us, right? And take note if you can tune into this and see this happening in your life. Before we go into a meeting, or before we go home, or before we talk to a certain person, we just have this expectation that this is just gonna suck, right? And let me know if you relate to that when you wake up and go to work, right? Like, how many of us do we wake up for work and we're just like, oh, today's gonna suck, or it's gonna be so stressful, or this is gonna happen and that's gonna happen. And before anything has even happened, we're just out here assuming the absolute worst. And you know what happens? The absolute worst does happen. I remember, for example, before I used to record YouTube videos, right? It used to feel like such a big, daunting task to me because I hadn't done it or practiced it enough for it to feel easy. And what would happen is that in my mind, I would go like, oh, this is going to be so hard. What am I going to talk about? And all of these things used to come up in my mind. And what would happen is that it felt really hard. It felt like I was like pushing through like mud, or trying to pull myself out of quicksand, trying to just like record this video. And it was that self-talk and that self-belief. And that self-belief became a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so now when I show up in meetings and doing things, I'm just like, this is going to be so fun. And that's the intention that I set, for example, before recording this YouTube video. I was like, this is going to be so fun. I'm going to have so much fun. I'm going to be helping and inspiring and empowering people. And it's going to be so easy. And the words are just going to naturally flow out of my mouth. And I know exactly what I'm going to touch on and talk about. And I have seen the difference in how I show up in recording things when I feel like, for example, recording for YouTube, when I feel like this is going to be really hard and impossible to do, versus when I feel like this is going to be so easy and simple. I'm recording literally right at my window, so I see people passing by all the time. And I just saw this girl with this really cute outfit, so I had to take a second, stare over. I love telling girlies when they're wearing cute outfits, especially on the street. Anywho, this is one of my favorite parts about living in Toronto, is seeing all the fashion everywhere, but can get distracting. Coming back to this. So set the intention. You're going to have fun, that this is going to be amazing. It's going to feel easy. It's going to feel good. And when you start to expect things to go your way, again, they're not always going to go 100% your way, but you just show up in that setting in such a more positive way. And whatever you focus on essentially ends up flourishing. So expect positive, expect things to be easy, expect yourself to have more fun in your life. Because if you're not having fun while achieving your goals, like, what are we doing here? Right? Like, what are we doing? If it feels miserable to you, if you hate your life while achieving your goals, like, you're doing it so wrong. When you actually achieve the goal, that's like 2 seconds. It's 2 seconds. You achieve the goal. Sick. Great. And then what? The whole journey and the process of actually achieving your goals is where you spend most of your time. So if the journey to achieving your goals is 98% of it and 2% of it is you actually achieving the goal, you're telling me for 98% of it, you're going to feel miserable, you're going to hate your life, you're going to wake up with dread and overwhelm every single day? No, that's not how it's supposed to be. So stop expecting things to always go bad and start seeing what it's like in your life to show up expecting things to go in the best freaking way possible for you, and just watch how that shifts, your ability to be in this peak performance state all day long. And the last piece to tie into this, which is the food piece. Every time I talk to my patients and we look at the times of the day they're experiencing an energy slump, it's almost always correlated to the foods that they're eating. Either they had a snack that was high in carbs, or they had a lunch that was high in carbs and not enough nutrients, or they were eating foods that they were sensitive to and their body actually has trouble digesting. And so here's the golden rule. The golden rule that you should always follow when it comes to nutrition, especially when you're having breakfast and lunch. And the golden rule is that you want to focus on eating high protein, aka getting at least 25 to 30 grams of protein in your meals, high fat and high vegetable foods during the day. These are the foods that are going to power you through. The bagels and the sandwiches and the muffins and the cookies and the crackers are going to steal your performance. You're going to steal it away. And if you want to be in your peak performance all day long, you have to make sure that you are feeding your body the right nutrients, because your body is going to take these nutrients and ultimately use it as fuel. And if you're not giving your body the right nutrients and the right fuel, your body literally doesn't have the tools it needs in order to actually help you function and to actually help you feel your best. So it's so important that you're choosing the right foods. Every time I will start my day off with something that's high in carbs, like, goodbye. My performance is honestly going to go way, way, way down. And that's definitely not something that we want. So it's so important that you make the right food choices for yourself, because if you make the wrong food choices for yourself, and by the way, I'm not sure if you knew this, but digestion itself is a really heavy process, right? It's really taxing on your body. And so if you're eating foods that are just harder to digest, all the resources are going away from your brain and to help your body actually digest the food. So if you're eating higher carb foods, if you're eating a lot of extra calories, that's the other thing too. You can be eating the right foods, but if you're overeating, that's also going to take away resources from your brain and for your body to actually be able to use that so that you can show up in your state as the high performer that you are. If you want to eat some sort of like junky food, I always say save that for the evening instead, so that your body has the best nutrients in the morning to actually help your brain function the way that it needs to. So these are the 3 steps. Number 1, learning how to transition effectively. Number 2, assuming the best and most positive things are going to happen to you. And number 3, choosing the right foods for yourself. Combine all these 3 things together, super simple to do, and just watch how it completely changes and shifts your ability to show up in a peak performance state all day long. Now, if you are looking for support, if you're just like, I want to crush my anxiety and fear, I want to crush my limiting beliefs, and I want to start showing up in my life in my like full potential, book a 30-minute discovery call with me. I will talk to you about your brain tub, and we'll talk about what support for you actually looks like. And when you work with me, we're not just working on your mindset. I'm going to be teaching you how to eat right, how to sleep right. I'm going to be educating you on supplements. I'm going to be teaching you about also mindset strategies too. But essentially, when you work with me, you get like a nutritionist, a personal trainer, a therapist, psychologist, all those things in one. And that's what makes this approach so effective, is that we're going to be working on the mind and body together. So if that's something you're interested in, use the link in the bio to book your free discovery call with me.